evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me. Down the inside, absolutely impossible scene.
This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakely will dive to the inside.
We'll go bust. We got our elbows out.
Ronard takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Yarda Watmere is your champion.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back once again to some more Monday Evening Madness here at Premier Sim Gaming Leagues. We return for PlayStation Tier 1, round number 6 of Season 41, fresh from an attritional Austrian Grand Prix 7 days ago. The first without runaway championship leader Alex Lowe, his departure blowing the door wide open in the title battle, and through that door, stormed Silo kept their head while chaos erupted around them to deliver a picture-perfect performance. First win of the season, first point of the season as well. Only one prior appearance, and that was a DNF in round number 2 at the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. And like we said there as well, the championship picture shaken like a snow globe. 3 of the top 5 failed to score. Another one scraped home in 10th. And the only one to truly capitalise on the goings-on from last week was last season's runner-up Volokong. And a superb second place has given him a 9-point cushion at the summit. But everything, everybody, remains on 10 to hooks. Top 6 covered by just 13 points. And from 2nd down to 6th, you can throw a blanket over them. Only 4 points apart. And that sets us up, you would imagine, for a very exciting second half of the season. Tonight, though, we've cancelled our flights to Canada. Yes, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, it is off the table thanks to some interesting track limits that I think everybody has now become aware of. Meaning we stay in Europe for a day in Spain at the Circuit de Catalunya. Much improved circuit since they got rid of the abhorrent, the terrible chicane in the final sector back in 2023. And for the second week running as well, we could see some real strategic chess on play. The one stop is faster on paper, but there is absolutely no guarantee that the tyres won't go pop before the checkered flag falls. This should be an absolute cracker. Once again, in your virtual commentary box, filled by myself, Tom Wilkinson, and Ataku Logan alongside me. Last week, Logan, around Austria, we described it as a bit of a go-kart track. So much action, so much racing. Some of it was clean, some of it wasn't, but Silo was a class above.
Oh, absolutely, he was. It was just a fantastic race from Silo. Even with the absence of Alex Lofer, there was still a dominant force out there of Silo. He just seemed to have run away with it by seconds. And you know what the real shame is? I was about to say everything you were about to say, which you were on for like a minute. But oh well, that's fine.
Well, we can discuss things in more detail. Obviously, heading to the Catalunya circuit. Used to be a bit of a bore draw, wasn't it? Wasn't the best of circuits for overtaking or for racing. But since those track changes back in 2023, we got rid of that god-awful final chicane. Much better racing, much better flow as well. You can really get a nice feel of this circuit, a rhythm track when you're driving it.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, it's used in test tracks. As a test track for Formula One, they used to use things like Jerez, but not anymore. They have been using it for... Let's mute up on this. They've used it since 1991, of course, when they moved away from Jerez, and has been a host of the Spanish Grand Prix until next year, because it will be host to the Barcelona Catalunya Grand Prix, see its contract out, and then go to Madrid, which obviously be polarizing, but then I judge a book by its cover. We'll be seeing Madrid in the next game. Oh, wait, hold on. There is no next game in 26.
Well, there is a next game. It's just quite a while away.
Yeah.
Not great.
There's no next 26, you know what I mean.
We do indeed. Well, we've spoken a little bit about the championship picture. Let's have a look at how things are shaping up in this championship battle. Ignore, that's the constructors. That was not the right thing. Ignore Alex Lofer, who still sits atop the table, but has left PSGL, PSF1, moving over to the other platform. And that means that after back-to-back podiums, Volokong has been launched up to the top. 3rd and then 2nd, now hunting that final step, the top step, to extend his lead further. The 2 V cars, level on points a week ago, both at the top of the top of the charts, Absolute disaster classes from the pair of them. Mats von der Geest collected in contact, battled back to finish P10, and Dirk, it was a heroic one-stop gamble after qualifying P18, but he ended with his tyres detonating on the last lap. Tony Richet picked up mid-race damage, resigned to P11 and no points, despite some really strong pace. Then you go through the other runners and riders. Nico returning to the points with a battling P5. Ivan Eskri failing to score for the second time this season. Real disappointing race for him, finishing 16th. And then we get to Silo. Full 16 points taken last week. Pole position and the race win. Potentially another runner showing the plethora of riders we have in this championship crusade, Logan.
Yes, but as we all know, it is definitely far from over. We are at the halfway point for this season. Volkongen, as we said, leads by 9 points, but that can definitely change, of course, because Volkongen actually hasn't had a race win to his name yet. So drivers like Silo, they could be in the hunt. And there is still a technicality that Alex Lofer could win the championship should nothing happen. But then again, with 16 points for a win, if Volkongen wins twice, or at least gets well, he has to get at least a win from the next 2 races. If he was to win like 3 podiums, he would definitely overtake Alex Lofer. Of course, Dirk had a poor week last week, but he's still in the hunt. Van de Geest there as well. You've got 28, 27, 26, 25, and 24 from 3rd down to 7th. That's pretty sick. But of course, if they say we're finished in reverse order in the bottom 5 of the points, they would all be on equal points. So they'd be all on 29 points, I think. Or, well, even worse. One of them scores 0 and the other scores like 4, 3, 2, 1. But you know what I mean. That would be quite the championship decider if that was the penultimate round. But no, it's just the 6th round of 11. Still 102 points available, 16 for the win. Top 10 get paid, and of course pole position gets a point. No fastest lap point anymore because of course it's just a arbitrary thing. So we have do we have a full grid tonight? We've got 19. Is there anything I'm missing?
It's a bit touch and go. We've got some drivers checking in, then some drivers checking out late, so we're still not 100% sure about how the grid is going to look. What we are sure, though, is the circuit itself. Like I said, Catalonia, ever present on the calendar for 35 years now, remains a proper technical test of consistency and very much tyre management as well. High load corners, torturing the front tyres in particular, and patience has definitely become a virtue. Overtaking used to be rarer than a blue moon, but since we got rid of that dreadful, I'm going to keep banging on about it, the horrendous chicane in the final sector that was run from 07 to 2022. Drivers can now follow better through the final couple of corners, allowing for those dicey duels in the first sector. DRS as well into the reprofiled turn 10 opens the door for a couple of drivers to come barreling through down the inside or hanging around the outside. Got to be careful through the long radius sweeps of 10 and 12 as well, because the rear tyres, when they're suffering, dancing on the knife edge of grip, Logan, is of paramount importance.
Yes, of course. I'm sorry, I'm going, no. I absolutely hated that chicane. There was absolutely no need. Yeah, safety first, but you definitely could have made some safety improvements around it, like a Rouge. But yes, it can be a fun track, and most of the times, if you can keep it close and play it safe around, especially the mid-pack of the track, which is full of technical corners. But the long stretch down, that's over 1 kilometre long, lots of overtaking opportunities, and of course, down into the final sector, always a chance to make a move or two. We'll just go through who we have on the grid. We only have, I believe, 1 full-time driver, Lawrence, missing out, and Polly Massey, who's a reserve, also not here. I do believe it's supposed to be... I'm just trying to go through the grid. It is Jaquita 37, who's a reserve, is there tonight as the as one of the drivers. Replacing Lawrence.
Hopefully it goes better than last week, because you predicted Jaquita to win the race, I believe, and it was a difficult one.
I'm not using the D20
the one
again.
That was in the house.
I realize I've sacked it off. Yes, it is Lawrence who was driving the Red Bull. So I do believe that Red Bull has been occupied tonight. Will it give him wings, though? We'll have to find out. As my quality of commentary disintegrates by the minute.
Oh, don't say that. Always
I
room
didn't
for
have any notes prepared, admittedly. Sorry, Jess. Hi.
always room for improvement,
Jess.
but drivers will be hoping. Getting the last setup tweaks being made, they'll be going into this confident. But if you just want that little bit more confidence to try and extract the maximum you can from yourself and your car, well, head over to Sim Racing Setups, everybody. Unlock extra performance with the Pro F125 car setups. They're created and developed by the drivers you see week in, week out here at PSGL. Esports and stable setups for you to sink your teeth into. Quality and race setups, dry and wet weather setups as well. And you get optimal race strategies thrown in there with free meta setup updates as well. Compatible across all platforms, and they are all available, all 27 circuits for £49.49. Do the maths there, £49.99 divided by 27. That's pretty darn good value. Head over to simracingsetup.com, linked in the description, and use that code PSGL at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Best in the business, Logan.
Yeah, damn. Oh, it's raining.
Is it raining?
Yeah, definitely the best in the business. Josh has retired. I do believe he may have a Q ban. I'll just double check. This is what happens when you get in from work, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry if I have a life.
Intermediate tyres, though. So not full wet, but
Yes,
it is definitely
intermediate.
spitting.
Right, so we've got a couple of incidents to go over. Tony Richey got a 5-second penalty. Actually, did you say this or not?
No, I didn't.
I'll continue.
Go ahead.
No. Tony Richey got a 5-second penalty to causing collision, losing traction at turn 4, slid sideways, resulting in contact with Finlay, who sustained front wing damage. 2 licence points in a qualifying ban for Josh, which is pivotal in this. Qualifying interference, visual impairment, dirty air. Tony Richey also got a qualifying ban. He now uses the Tony Richey with a 1 and a 3 in it and the GT10 tag for his stable. He's also got a qualifying interference ban as well for the same reason. Dirty air. Dylan Hogland was given a warning and a license point for causing a collision. I'm not going to go through what happened. It's a long description. And there was also another incident review between Otsuzito and Matus, but that got a NFA. And we have drivers on track. 2 of them, well, 18 of them, because 2 of them are going to have to start from the very back, unless they all just decide to retire now, and there'll be a 3rd and 4th. But that's not going to happen, because who's going to do that? Everyone on intermediate. So the benefit here is you are going to set multiple laps, because they're not going to shed as much as, say, the soft tyres, which are designed for dry weather racing.
100%. Just fill up the car with a little bit more fuel so you can try and find the limit of the grip on these tyres. And if the conditions are going to get worse, we're not 100% sure what the weather's going to do. If it does get worse, then Fraser, in a very strong position, being the first out on the circuit, really hustling the car through turns 1 and 2, really aggressive with the rotation on the steering wheel there. A little bit wobbly, though, coming through turn 3. Not a lot of grip out there at this stage. Or a 24.6 through the first set, but big load of understeer through Repsol turn number 4. The car does not want to respond to his inputs as he would desire. Heavy braking again down into turn 5, getting it slightly wrong. A couple of stabs at trying to get the car turned in. I think he was just on the grass on the entry, putting that McLaren off ever so slightly. Turns 7 and 8, really brutal. Got to be so precise. Fraser slightly wide, and that sausage curb is horrendous. It will throw you into the barrier with absolutely no respite. Not the cleanest lap from Fraser, and I think he's bailed out of it.
Yeah, I was about to say, he was having a hard time in turn 5. Wonder if Max Verstappen's ghost was there. Sorry. But yes, Fraser, unfortunately, unable to set a decent lap. It isn't that wet, but they are playing it safe, it seems, on these tyres. Looking who else we've got. Of course, we've got Fraser coming around to finish his lap. I find it so funny they've still got an advertising gantry at the old chicane. Maybe they decided to put it there anyways, or for some alternate camera shots. 125.72. I expect that to be beaten soon. Silo's on the track. I don't know who is going to be next to cross the line. We'll find out momentarily, because it looks like everyone is on their outlaps. I do believe we've got an Aston Martin crossing the line. It's Suede. This should go above Fraser. It does. 122.387. Of course, early days yet. We'll see if that's going to get topped. Nico will not. He goes to 123.08. We also have Max van de Geest scoring 1:23.639.
Bit of traffic here for
have
Silo
Ferrari.
coming around the final corner, by the way. Haas right in his pathway.
Yeah.
Might still go fastest and does by
Oh,
just
yeah.
under a tenth of a second. 22.3 for Silo and for Zwade with that Haas and Mateus in front. Definitely would have got a big whack of dirty air through the final two corners. Max von der Geest, it was a little bit messy. I was watching on board with the first RB car over the line. Took way too much curb through the final corner. Big whack of oversteer through 14.
So we have half the drivers sitting a lap. I'll make that 11. Well, I'm including the qualifying drivers, so it's going to be 18 at most, but 11 of the 18 drivers have set a lap. Make it 12. The gap at the top is 83 thousandths, and then there's obviously a gap of over 6 tenths between second and third, and that's the two Aston Martins being separated by that. We have Finley unable to get above 1:24.876. That is must have had a poor few corners in the middle of the track, as we are waiting for Even S. Creek to cross the line, coming around the final two corners, hopefully keeping it all clean, and a bit of a slide out of the penultimate corner. Final corner looks okay though, and this should be good enough for 7th place.
Two drivers, though, in a completely different stratosphere early on. Ottozito mind the gap, fills the gap between the two Aston Martin cars, but only 3 drivers within 7 tenths. Well, 4 drivers technically within 7 tenths. No, 3 drivers, sorry, within 7 tenths of the pole time of Silo. We know that when the rain starts to fall, that is a bit of a separator between the best drivers and the merely good drivers out on the circuit. There will also be some differing fuel loads as well. Drivers opting just to go for one flying lap on their first run. Some drivers will fill the car up to try and go again. Lars Kramer with a big improvement on their second attempt, jumping up into P3, 22.4, fourth driver to get into the 1:22s. Good lap from Phil, didn't mention that, but he's been quietly going about his business very consistently. Scored in 4 of the 5 races so far this season. Has qualified at the back for quite a lot of those. Dirk just starting what I imagine will be their second attempt, unless they bail into the pits. No, Dirk round in the final corner to go again, currently holding P6. Max von der Geest in the other RB down in 13th. Is up by 4.5 tenths through the first couple of sectors. Needs to find a bit more in the final sector. Scruffy last corner on his first attempt, so this should get him towards that 22 mark as Zwade smashes the benchmark even further. 21.7. Hello, my friend.
That is a heck of a time, and that might take some beating. And then again, the conditions might be improving. So he goes to the top of a 1:21. The only driver to go under 1:22 so far. Leon's on his outlap, so is Lee Pox. And we are looking for who is next to cross the line. It will be Silo, who goes to the top by 14 thousandths.
Still inseparable, those two leaders, and still on a completely different plane compared to everybody else. Max von der Geest setting his time after Zwade, but 1.1 seconds slower. Dirk finding a little bit of time in the first sector, but runs wide through turn 9, gets away with it track limits wise, but it is going to cost him a whole host of lap time. And yes, a quarter of a second down. Snacks in the Papaya McLaren up to P3, 22.3. These times are going to be coming in thick and fast as the track does continue to just get gradually better grip-wise, and the times just continue to fall. Phil, another big improvement. It's an Aston Martin 2.3, 22.1 for himself. Ivan Escrive, one of the championship contenders you would imagine, invalidating with a lot of gravel on that front left tyre.
Yes, absolutely. So, I'm sorry, I had to turn away for a second. Looks like Otsuzito is getting in the traffic as drivers in the Alpine. I think that's Skrig well, he's invalidated, so it doesn't really matter too much. We've got Leon is invalidated. Lipox has not been able to set a time yet, so he needs to really get on the board as soon as. Otherwise, he'll be starting at the back behind the 2 qualifying band drivers. Who are we looking at?
Lars Kramer is improving, but a big wobble through turn 13 might put pay to his chances of disrupting the lean duo, and does actually bail there. Was up by a decent whack of time though.
Yeah, not ideal for Lars Kramer. Still around 3/4 of a second off the pace, but still in 5th place. But I'm sure the track may improve soon enough, so I think he's got to get out there as soon as once it starts to improve. I don't know how much time we have left. So many slow drivers, and looks like there's a yellow flag caused by Phil, who's slowed right down. And I think that's a McLaren as well, who's slowed down, but looks like he's got going again. The yellow flags are just abundantly everywhere. Hopefully we see what the time is now. 8 minutes left. Lap 8 minutes and 6, it says on my end. That's not correct. You don't set them by a lap. Mateus is crossing the line and he goes as 11th, unable to break the top 10 as of yet by 6 thousandths. By the way, 8th, 9th and 10th separated by a total of 2 thousandths.
Wow. So close. Watching with the championship leader, by the way, as Ivan Eskrig, big improvement up to 4th. Make that 5th as Ottozito slams in a 22 flat. Championship leader 14th as things stand on a 23.6. Has been a little bit tentative on this flying lap at the moment. Less than half of the session to go on both Mercedes cars down in the doldrums as things stand. 3rd 2 weeks ago, 2nd last week. Volokongan looking to go one better. Needs a good lap time up into P9. Still 8 tenths off the benchmark set by Silo, which was a little while ago now. Snacks now into the 121s and takes it away from Silo and Zwade. Top 3 covered by 300ths of a second.
The Chrome is working well for Stats. He's now got himself 17 thousandths ahead of Silo, but of course 7 minutes to go and these conditions may be improving. There'll be a chance for everyone to get on the board. Finley's definitely improving, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Let's see if he crosses the line. It goes into the top 10 with 122.727. We also have Dirk starting his lap. One of the Haas is crossing the line. I do think he's too slow though. It says 3 seconds down. Yeah, he's going for another lap it looks like, and this will be his final lap. He's only got about 1 lap of fuel left. I don't know, he might as well pit this lap. He's got time. So we are getting to the stage where you're going to have to think of setting this. It runs! Leon goes to the 121.6s!
I was just watching it. Looked really hooked up through the final set to Leon, and does. Bang in the fastest lap time. First driver to break into the 21.6s. Snacks is still out there backing off. Zwade is out there as well. Fastest in the middle sector. So we'll stay on board with the green machine. Looks a little bit wobbly through 10, 11. Now just trying to hook it tight through turn number 12. Feels like it takes an absolute age to press the right pedal and get the power back on the run through the penultimate couple of corners. Really tight to the inside of 13. Using a little bit of curve through 14. Foot flat to the floor. Does he take provisional pole back? Zwade to the line and does by the tune of a quarter of a second. 21.4 now for Zwade. Lowers the benchmark even further. Silo fastest now in the first sector. These guys really trading blows right at the sharp end. Really aggressive Silo using all of the available track space.
Yeah, looks like the track definitely is improving. The times are starting to tumble down. 2 tenths clear and then some from Svade. Pretty much 2.5 tenths. A quarter of a second for Svade. And he is going to be on pole position for now. Silo is on a lap. I am not sure how he is doing, but let's see as he crosses the timing beam. He is 4 tenths ahead. This could be the new time to beat. As he comes round the final few corners. The final sector of this lap, which you may not see after 2026. We're coming around the final 2 corners. Is this going to be the new benchmark? Silo, slide out of the final corner, not what you want to have. And it's still good enough, 121.276. I could see all these times tumbling down though.
That was really on edge, wasn't it, through the final set? Had a couple of attempts of just trying to keep the car pointing in the right direction. Mats van der Geest bangs in a 121.9 to jump up into P5. Mateus 22 flat, now holding P6. Phil's been pushed down, but is improving by 3 tenths of a second. Needs to find a little bit more time, though, in this final set to get back up with his teammate. Back up with Silo, Snacks, and Leon as well. There is an Alpine in front. Shouldn't get disturbed too much by it through the final couple of corners. But Phil really needs to get this time. It might be slightly out of sync compared to some of his main rivals. A lot of drivers, or half the field, either on an outlap or still in the pits. Phil to P2, fastest in the final sector. 21.3, really impressive final sector. Found a lot of time and a lot of grip in there as well.
Yeah, I was looking at both of our RBs. They've pit. do you think, is that Snat? Yeah, Fraser's on a lap, and he's going to be starting again, it looks like, because it looks like he backed off in that one. Oh, he's just out for it. Everyone coming into the pits, though, because 3.5 minutes left. This is their last chance, and with the conditions seemingly improving, this may be their one chance to get onto possibly pole position, or or any high spot if it's not going to be pole position. Of course, it may be crucial here in the race.
It's
and of
spitting.
course, it's 1 point up for grab. Yeah, it's still
100%.
spitting.
But it's very fine rain. Definitely subsided substantially comparing to the very start of the qualifying session. Phil's still out there. Just needs to try and get his skates on to get round in time. You can see he's only 4/10 of his personal best on his in-lap. So really trying to rag that Aston Martin to make sure he can get one final attempt if the track conditions do continue to improve. Fraser hasn't got a representative time on the board. You'd say massive slide through turn number 9, the rear end of that Papaya McLaren car, not paying ball at all. 8/10 improvement through the first couple of sectors. Needs to find a bit more in the final part of the lap. Phil does make it to the pits with 2.5 minutes to go, has about 60 seconds to get that car turned around. Snack starting a flying lap in the other McLaren car. Alpine coming up to the line as well. I think that is Jordan to start a flying lap. Here comes Fraser around the final corner. Really needs this. Might be one of the last couple of attempts that he gets in this session. Cutting the beam, we go with Fraser from 18th just up to 12th. Still over a second down on a 22.4.
Yeah, so everyone coming in to do their final few laps. Well, maybe the final lap, because of course we've got about 2 minutes left. Yeah, 2 minutes. So some of these drivers are going to get 1 or 2 laps around this course to get a time set. So I've got Leon has crossed the line to start his lap. He did have the pole time for a bit, but that is of course being succeeded by Silo, who's 4 attempts ahead. He's got to find 4 attempts. Or is he actually going slow on purpose?
Oh, Nax. Perpendicular to the circuit through turn 9. Massive drift. Is finding time, but I don't think he's finding enough to take provisional pole back from Silo and the 2 Aston Martins. Again, the tail wagging through 11. I think it has just stopped raining. We can still see the streaks on the halo, but
on soft.
really spitting. And Dirk out there on soft tyres. Watch out for the final 60 seconds. This is going to be crazy. Snacks needs to get this time on the board. Might be the last attempt. He gets almost exceeds track limits. Are we back at the top with McLaren? No. Another member of the 21-3 club. 600ths of a second down on Silo. Second at best as Jordan up to P6.
So, means we have just about a minute left, I think, because we are now going everyone on the track. Everyone is going for it. There's going to be a lot of traffic, especially with I've gone Leon's on board. He's got about 4 cars ahead of them, and they're going to be slowing right down and waiting for the optimum time to go. But you got to go soon. I've got 30 seconds left. You wouldn't want to wait now. You pretty much have to go at the penultimate corner, just before the penultimate corner. And I'm starting to worry, are these drivers going to even get a chance to cross the line? Because I think they've only got 14 seconds.
Touch and go.
Leon's got to cross the line. I think he'll be fine though.
Well, there's a Haas at the back that might be under pressure. That queue coming around the final corner now. I think they are just about going to scramble over the line. Are we going to miss with a couple? Checkered flag is out. Silo, provisional pole sitter, doesn't get round to set another flying lap in this session. Lepok's in the Haas, up into P8 on a 22 flat. This is Wade. Was on pole once upon a time. Needs to find 0.2 of a second. The delta in the first couple of sectors is nearly 0.7 of a second. Last week's winner, last week's pole sitter, could be under the cosh here. Snacks couldn't improve on the back-to-back runs. Jordan into the pits as well. These 2 drivers that are first and second going to tumble through the field. You would imagine Wade desperately trying to get the power down through the final couple of corners. Fraser up into P5 for McLaren, 21.6. Wade is absolutely flying. This is going to smash the fastest time. Finds 0.9 of a second, 20.5. That is the time for everybody to chase. Big gaggle of cars in the mid-pack. The other Aston Martin we're looking at. Lars Kramer to the front row, 21.1. Phil's got a bit of traffic. A lot of drivers really going to be caught short by this. Max von der Geest onto the front row. Want to see what Dirk's doing, who's right at the back of this train on the soft compound tyres. Let's not forget, Silo bumped down to P4. Might drop even further down the order because there's a lot of drives in the final sector. Ivan up to P3. Watching the kicks out of Leon, was on pole position not too long ago. Ottozito to second. Silo down to 7th. Leon, big slide through the final corner. Do they take pole back? No, it's P3. One of the Williams has made a mistake around the final corner as well. We wait for Dirk, who is 8 seconds down. The soft tyre gamble. It did not work. And Zwade has taken pole by just under a 10th ahead of Ottozito. Leon, Mats van der Geest and Mateus in P6 with Ivan Eskrieg 5th. Silo didn't get round in time.
He did not, and he has paid the penalty for that. He's lost out on the point, which would have got him pole position. Zwade is going to get pole position by 96 pounds, just about a 10th. And then third place was about, I've got to say, a quarter of a second behind Ottozito. Silo is going to start in 8th, and that's the last thing he wanted. He didn't get around in time, and that means he's going to be stuck well back to where he wanted to be. Dirk's gamble did not pay off. He'll be starting last of those who are in the qualifying session. Of course, Tony O'Shea and Guillaume for the qualifying ban will be starting at the back row.
Championship leader Volokongren only 12th as well. So under pressure with Mats van der Geest towards the front, Ivan Eskrieg towards the front, Silo in a decent position with some strong pace. We're seeing names right at the sharp end that we haven't seen so far in the opening 5 rounds of season 41. It is dry to start the race. It might rain later on. It was a wet to dry qualifying session almost. Is it going to be dry to wet race? Things will have to change dramatically, but it is going to be crucial for some of the championship contenders that have made a decent early start. They can't afford to lose that momentum with some dodgy mid-season races.
Oh, absolutely. So we're just waiting for the race to begin. We'll be getting started in about a minute. Of course, we have one mandatory stop in this race as due to the Formula 1 regulations. Let's see what's going on. People are shocked at Dirk's strategy. Not surprised that it went. Not much to say really here, but we are raring to go. We're looking at a full grid among us. Gotta say though, that pit building looks quite retro.
It does.
Very retro. Of course, they've upgraded the Hungaroring one recently. They've had the same Silverstone one, which has always looked futuristic, and of course, there's always been the Vegas one. But you can't help but like the old pit buildings. They really make you think that you're in history, even though this was a track built in the 90s.
Yeah, coming in 91. It does give that nice little vintage feel. And obviously, this is an old school classic race venue. Catalonia, been on the calendar for 35 years nearly. Got better since they made those changes. We'll mention it again. That final chicane in the last sector was absolutely horrendous. Not just for racing, but to drive as well. Not rewarding in the slightest. Killed any opportunity to stay close, really, on the run through the final corner, which was flat, still flat now, and then into turn number 1. We mentioned strategy. That's going to be an interesting game. Can get away with a 1-stop, can get away with a 2-stop. Long downhill charge to turn number 1. Aston Martin versus Ferrari. We've got a mixed up grid. Championship protagonist towards the back. It is lights out. We are racing for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's Zwade versus Ottozito down to turn 1, and the Ferrari launching off the grid like an absolute rocket ship, and Zwade's going to be under the cosh into the braking zone of the first corner. Ottozito gets his elbows out down the inside and pushes Zwade to the outside, taking the lead, stealing a march on his main rival. Finlay making up places. Nico dropping back. Zwade on the medium tyres, really grappling for grip compared to everybody else. Is now Leon that fancies a run around the outside of turn number 4. Mats van der Geest watching and waiting in the wings as well. We've got a Mercedes running wide through 4. Finlay getting stuck in a battle in the lower reach of the top 10. In fact, diving it down the inside with 3 wide. Mateus, Finlay, Lars Kramer dueling over places. Finlay on the money, on the button, and steals 6th place from his rivals.
Yeah, and Mateus is fighting with Silo. Silo unable to get anywhere up the order. Ottozito is in the lead ahead of Spade and Leon and Van der Geest. They have the biggest gainer there, for obviously Finlay gaining 4 positions. We've got a move down the inside from Nico, who is already at 1 space. Tony Rocher is already up to 16th from 19th, and Lepox has dropped from 15th to 20th, which is not a great start. Must have had an incident at the start, but we are beginning lap 2, and this is where DRS will come into play. And of course, we will not be talking about DRS next year because it will not be there. It will be, I've been told it's going to be called Mum. Oh dear.
Oh, Silo on the move around the outside of Mateus. Last week's winner, last week's pulse into contact. Both of them slam into the barrier. Silo resets to track, tumbles through the field. Mateus pitched into the wall. Big drama for last week's winner. Was trying to make a championship charge mid-season. It's gone horribly wrong on lap number 2. 2 contenders taken out of it. Tony Richet battles up to 13th after starting on the back row. Excellent first lap and a half for the Scarlet Ferrari driver. Nico bumped down a spot. Both of them running on the white striped hard compound tyre. Finlay on the softs, the one and only driver favouring the red stripe rubber, making that work on the opening lap. Really strong start. Now battling away, I think, with Ivan Eskrig, thinking about a move tucked right up underneath the rear wing of the Alpine driver, just sitting and waiting down into turn number 10. But that was a big flashpoint. Just looked a bit messy between the pair of them.
Yes, absolutely, and unfortunately that has given wing damage to both. Mateus has no wing damage because he has no wing, but Silo will have to get that wing replaced too. That is not a good sign. The lap 3 begins, and Suede is going to try and take the lead back, and there it is, and we've got Guillaume behind him. Who else is fighting for a position? It looks like we've got that Red Bull there tucked behind, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, and 2 drivers going into the pit. Oh no, you don't want to see that. Mateus is just running at the back of Silo. What is Silo doing?
Wow.
Mateus has been disqualified for something he did not do. Silo clearly blocked the pit lane. Oh, they're both being disqualified. Well, that's very unfair on Mateus as well. I think they're going to have to be looking at that. Silo has went from hero to 0 in the space of a week.
Well, unless that's a game glitch and Silo was just stopped there at pit lane entry, I think that's pretty much unacceptable what he's just done there. Head loss after one lap of racing. And that is not very good from Silo. I'd be expecting at least a race ban to come from that. Battle going into turn number 10. This is Volokong, a championship leader. Fancies his chances around the outside of Snacks. There's a wobble for the Papaya McLaren car that hands 8th place on a plate to Volokong. And Snacks going to try and fight it around the outside of turn 12. But I think he's going to come up second best in this altercation. Little bit too over ambitious, too overzealous with the loud pedal, dropping in behind the championship leader.
Now he's got his teammate Fraser behind him now to deal with, and you don't want to be doing that at this early stage of the race. You're not trying to squander your team's plans of winning. And again, it is McLaren. But yes, Suede still in the lead by half a second. Finlay still on the softs, going around very nicely, trying to catch up to Ivan Eskrig. And looks like the 2 McLarens are trying to get back up the order. Well, actually, Fraser's already up 3 spaces. Snacks stuck where he started. Paul Congan making a great start. He's up 4 now. Both Mercedes have made up 4 spaces. That is pretty good going. Tony Richet now up to 13th because of the incidents between Silo and Mateus. Yeah, I have never seen anything like that before, so you know, that is definitely going to have to be looked at. I am not sure what battle to look at. I know the 2 McLarens are closing up to Volokong and the Mercedes, all Mercedes powered cars. In fact, everything from 6th to 10th is a Mercedes powered car, and the cars in between those are going to be going to Mercedes next year. Funny fact here, but let's see if we can see some action. Doesn't look like it. They're all trying to space out and see where they are at, but it doesn't look like we've got much battling going on yet.
I think Finlay just starting to struggle and grapple for grip a little bit on these ailing soft compound tyres. It's not a particularly good race tyre. He's done a really good job to get himself some really good track position. If he is committing to a one-stop strategy, he's going to have to stretch those soft tyres further into the race than he would like and then go hard through the end. It's a bold move from Finlay if this is a one-stop race for the Mercedes. We said at the start, and we said in the intro as well, it is marginal. You can get away with the one-stop. It is probably faster on paper, but there is the risk that those tyres go pop in the latter stages, either of the first stint or the second stint as well. You can see on board with the Williams of Lars Kramer, got significantly more grip at this stage, more confidence in the car. Finlay just trying to baby these soft compound tyres. The longer he can keep track position, it benefits himself, and it just hurts the drivers behind as they're stuck in the dirty air of this ailing Merc.
So now, Lars Kramer is going to have a shot at making a move on Finlay and demote him a place and get that soft tyre telling off, saying, "You're too slow, mate." It doesn't look like... I've not seen any overtaking so far for the past, I don't know, 3 laps. It's not really want to see as a commentator in a neutral. But unfortunately, that's what we got here. And Lars Kramer struggling to find any momentum to get close to Finlay, who is definitely running out of time on these soft tyres. He's basically trying to find ways to buy time by going as fast as he can, but it's not working out for him. 27 laps to go, 28 laps, pardon me. We should be seeing the pit stops around, what, lap 12, lap 13?
Maybe if you're on the mediums, you want to try and extend it a little bit further, maybe 14, 15. It is a stretch, those medium tyres we know on this game. Not a great race tyre as Finlay, you can see really struggling with understeer there. Not troubling the apex of turn number 10. And once again has the Williams of Lars Kramer all over the back of him. And like he said there, crucially, outside the 1 second window of the quintet in front, burning some battery in these final couple of corners. Really on edge, you can see, hanging on, clinging onto that Mercedes, and does do an exceptional job there of recovering for lost ground. Does pick up the DRS down this straight at least, but still over a second off the back of Ivan Eskery. Needs to get his skates on to make sure he doesn't stay outside 1 second. It's touch and go for Finlay as those tyres continue to degrade, deteriorate, and just feel all spongy and horrible to drive on. Needs to try and be careful here that he doesn't leave himself exposed.
I love it, despite no action happening, I love you're still trying to make the race so exciting.
Well, that's what you've got to do.
Boys, it's brilliant, yeah. I'm just here being Martin Brundle, as usual. I missed the days when I wasn't, but yeah, it's the role I decided to take. Max van der Geest is staying behind the top 3. He's within 4 tenths, but considering the standards that the being set here right now, I don't think you have to have a chat for a while, of course, until maybe the pit stops. The pit stops are probably going to be key here, considering the state of play. So that will be in a few laps time, of course. But of course, Oxazito has made a move in the first corner for the position. Svade now defending. This could be a move on here. Svade is really struggling. And is this going to be a move from Oxazito? No, it's not. And some more defensive action as well from Bolokongan.
Oxazito just looked a little bit indecisive there, didn't he? He tucked in, and then he ducked back out, and then he ducked back in, and then he ducked back out again. Leon just behind, getting out of the turbulence to try and keep that Sauber car as cool as he possibly can. Doesn't want the engine temperatures to skyrocket, especially around a circuit like this where straight line speed is going to be important. It is a bit of a grind at this stage to try and make your overtakes work. That's where, as you alluded to earlier, the pit stop window is going to be crucial because drivers are going to fan out a little bit, going for differing strategies. There will be tyre offsets in there as well. That should separate the DRS train that has formed in the first 6 laps as well. Now just trying to put a little bit of distance in the middle sector between himself and Ottazito. Leon again ducking out of the turbulent air, trying to keep that car cool. It will be beneficial to him and things will start to fall into place if he continues to do that as this race develops. Ottazito slightly wide there through turn 12, not going to be as close to Wade as he was on the previous tour, but with the helping out of DRS, might just cruise up to the back of the green machine again on the run into turn number 1. But as we saw on the previous lap, no real intentions to make that move.
So, looks like we have Lars Kramer getting right behind. They're all really hard going to the left, some of these drivers. It's like the grid has spaced out whilst they're standing, but they're actually moving. But yeah, I don't remember the last time we had an actual move. Was it lap 3, lap 4?
It was a while ago.
Can we watch left 1 instead, please? Come on. Can we have another race? Can we have it in Antarctica.
I think it was Volakonga, wasn't it, picking the pocket of snacks round turns 10, 11 and 12. Finlay, you can still see here on screen on the soft tyres, soldiering on, definitely grappling for grip as the tyres just get worse and worse and worse, but has done a really good job to cling onto the coattails of that group in front. Ivan Eskrieg has been quiet in P5, equidistant really the gap between Max von der Geest and Ivan Eskrieg, and then Ivan Eskrieg back to Finlay on the soft tyres. Lars Kramer, while he's been able to follow closely, hasn't been able to make any real impression in this crucial final section. You get the sense as Finlay does have a big whack of oversteer there coming through turn number 12, that he is running slightly lower wings than the drivers around. Obviously this is equal performance, so the aero setup that you go for is going to be crucial in determining your straight line speed and how things pan out for you in this DRS train. He is under the cosh once again because that gap extending out towards a second again. Lars Kramer just doesn't seem to have the aero package that he's set up on the car to really make any real indentation into that gap down the main straight.
So I nearly fell asleep there. You can tell I'm waiting for an overtake. Lars Kramer. Oh, a mistake from Finlay and mistake from Lars Kramer as well in turn 4 as they approach turn 5. It looks like that Lars has spotted that Finlay's game is probably up here. He may have to pit way earlier and technically undercut, but he will have to do a longer stint on, I presume, hard tyres. Or maybe, well, I don't think he's even doing medium tyres or anything against the end of the race, but we've seen stranger things happen. Of course, Lepot's at the back, starting to close up on Kiosh, but with little interest because, of course, that's for no points. You only pay the top 10. We've got the Mercedes AMG sandwich with Williams filling 6 through 8, and we got the pit stop from Finlay, but of course that doesn't count as an overtake. But this will give an opportunity for Volakongen to get past and take the reins for him. But it looks like Lars Kramer's too far ahead and will stay in the position.
Yeah, Lars with some DRS as well. Kirsty being so close. Tucked up underneath the rear wing of Finlay through the penultimate and final corner. So Finlay the first to blink, gets shot of those soft tyres. Excellent stint, you have to say, from Finlay in P6. Making those softs last 10 laps and keeping himself, until that little mistake, going through turns 4 and 5. Just keeping yourself within touching distance of the leaders. And there is now a gap. The first break in the DRS train from 5th down to 6th. Lars Kramer is going to be under pressure, under the microscope from the championship leader, who since he got past Snacks, picking the pocket in the opening couple of laps, has just been happy to sit and watch and wait for things to unfold in front. We know Volakongen, one of the canniest racers, isn't he? Been around for so long, especially in PSGL, the PSF1 tier. So he knows how to work his way and fight his way through the field. Lars Kramer, a bit of a wobble there through turn 10, still 1.4 off the back, so won't get the helping hand of DRS on the run to turn 1. Could this be an opportunity, perhaps, for the championship leader to pounce?
Perhaps it could
no,
be.
because he boxes.
We've got pit stops, Van der Geest boxes, Volkong boxes, Snack boxes. Finally, some excitement in this race.
Well, that is earlier than I would have thought on the medium tyres. It's a long old stint, 20 plus laps on a set of hards to get to the end of the Grand Prix. Finlay will be going well. I've obviously done a really good job on those softs, taking them as far as I did, and the pace was strong. The tyre life was decent as well. We'll see how strong the undercut is for him as Max von der Geest is just trailing down pit lane exit now. We'll see the flash of silver, chrome almost, coming over the crest. Is he going to be ahead of his teammate Volakongen? That's going to be close. Volakongen with a good in-lap, but Finlay just has his teammate covered. Volakongen there ahead of Snacks with Max von der Geest 2 seconds up the road. Lovely bit of fresh air now. Finlay to try and drive into. Same for Max von der Geest, 13 seconds now to the next car ahead.
Yeah, so, and I've just been given a word in the Discord that Mateus is tagged Kryptonite in the chat about what happened. Oh yeah, definitely that is intentional. I'm sorry. That is, that's not a good look. This is the Premier League of PlayStation Formula 1 sim racing, and to see that is uncalled for.
Oh, interesting out front.
Sad to see.
Absolutely. Swayed. Oh, Ivan Eskri,
no,
10-second penalty. Criminal on the pit lane entry, and that will put pay to chances of picking up a podium place. Zwade stays out. The race leader, the pole sitter, continues to soldier on. Ottozito bounces onto the hard tyres. The same as Ivan Eskrieg and Leon. The two kick Saubers going to double stack as well. Where is Max von der Geest? Has the undercut worked for the former championship leader? The two Mercs still 2 seconds off the back of him. He's going to be spat out behind Ottozito, and it's going to be neck and neck with Leon the Sauber just in front. Max tries it around the outside. Is he going to be given the time of day? Little bit of contact over the curb. Rear left tyre to front right tyre. Max von der Geest was so committed there. Tried all his might to get ahead of the Sauber. He was coming out of the pits on those cold tyres. I think he's still going to be under the microscope on this outlap, but Max von der Geest laying his cars down on the table. Very, very punchy.
Yeah, so as of now, the bottom 10 have stopped, the top 10 have not. We should be expecting those on the medium tyres to be pitting soon, and Phil, Tony O'Shea, Nico, Dirk keeping it till later. Well, let's see what Swede's going to do. He's going to come in, Lars is going to come in, Fraser's going to come in, Jordan's going to come in. So Phil will have the lead now. Jakita and Lepox are staying out. They're going to be going long. I wonder if we got any battles going on involving them. Doesn't seem like it, but it does kind of look like it's an optical illusion when you're looking at 1 kilometer away. It is a very long straight.
100% now. Zwade coming down pit lane exit. Where is the Ferrari? You can see the flash of Scarlet in his rear view mirrors. Is Ottozito going to steal the race lead with the undercut? Spat out of the pits into the path of the Sauber of Leon. Leon once again has to battle coming out of the pits. Max von der Geest almost gets a swapper on behind under significant press from Ivan Eskrig, who's going to drive clean around the outside of turn number 3. Max von der Geest paying a hefty price for that little wobble coming out of turn 2. Leon getting up into net second. Ottozito, the net race leader, the pole sitter, drops down to P4. This battle between von der Geest and Eskrig continues to rage on. Max von der Geest charges around the outside of turn 5. Bit of bumping and grinding through 6. Now on the run down into 7. I think the white flag has to be raised by the white RB car. Max von der Geest now has to sit in behind through the rest of the middle sector with the dueling silver arrows just neck and neck, line astern behind Volokongen, examining the rear geometry of his teammate through 6 and 7 as well. But that was punchy from everybody involved again. Max von der Geest a mistake there, allowing the door to be opened. Ivan Eskrig barreling his way through the door, and Ottozito back into the lead of this race, the net race lead.
And Tony Roche is going to take that spot into the lead, but not really the lead because of course he hasn't pit yet. But making his work now, he's got clean air in front of him so he can go as fast as he wants before his pit stop. He is going quite aggressive on these tyres, so I wouldn't be surprised if he pits later. Or earlier, I should say. Yes, finally we got some battling here, and we've got a battle between what looks like Fraser and Jordan, but looks like that the Alpine is going to hold on for now. The inverse of real life. Looks like Ottozito is in the lead at this point, but remember Suede is on softer, not softer, he's on the better rubber, the younger rubber. Leon right in between the net leader and Suede, and then we've got Evskrig who has a 10-second penalty, so he may be not considered for the win today, unless, you know, a safety car could come. When was the last time we had a safety car? It feels like years.
I genuinely can't remember. I think we had one. Did we have one at Kota a few weeks ago? I can't quite remember. Lepox into the pits. Get shot of those medium tyres. Done 15 laps on them. Has the second Haas car. Mateus, the first Haas car, out of the session within the first couple of laps after an interesting kerfuffle and some interesting goings on in the pit lane, wasn't it? It wasn't what we like to see if it was indeed intentional from Silo, last week's race winner, bumping back down to earth with a moment that I think he'll like to forget. Zwade very close to Leon through turns 1, 2 and 3. The Aston Martin following very, very close, but now the dirty air kicking in through turn 3. Long radius, flat out corner, for the most part at least, and just getting pushed away from the Sauber, who's about 0.6 of a second, hovering about 0.6 of a second off the back of Ottozito out in front. This train goes from 6th position with Ottozito down to 14th with the Williams of Lars Kramer. Line astern, everybody in this DRS train. It'll all be about management now. The one stop is marginal. It's faster, but 20 laps, there or thereabouts on a set of hard tyres. Very much doable, but you are just going to have to be a little bit careful.
You are indeed, especially with half of the race gone, and these tyres are going to just last a very small chunk of the 33 laps we have. We will be, of course, doing only 15 laps in the mediums. I mean, you do get an easier run with the hard tyres, but if you pit earlier, you've got to be a little more conservative, as Chiquita is going to be the last driver who's not to pit, is going to pit.
Overtaking potential, by the way. Lars Kramer ducking, weaving underneath the rear wing of the McLaren of Snacks, having to throw the defensive shape into turn number 1 is Snacks, and a little bit all over the place through turns 1 and turn 2. Very much under pressure. Lars Kramer looking for the smallest of gaps to place that Williams down the inside of turn number 3, using some battery on the run into 4. Hovering in the middle of the circuit is Snacks, doing a good job defensively to hold on to 12th for the time being. A little bit of contact perhaps. The Williams tapping the back of his Mercedes engine counterpart, but Snacks rebuffs that assault for the time being, holds on to 12th place. Big whack of oversteer for Lars Kramer on the exit of turn 5.
Phil had a big moment of oversteer out of turn 6, but he has saved it and is still within 7 tenths. I take back what I said about Chiquita. He's not the last that's not pit is going to pit. He's the last on mediums to pit, of course. The hard tyre runners are still going to be out there. Are they going to go long? Are they going to go hang for the safety car? We haven't had a safety car yet this season, so the tail of tape is going to go this way. Then you might as well pit as you normally would, but it looks like Tony Richet and co are going to hang around for now on the track. Is Leon going to get close enough? I don't think so. Nope. So, and Fraser sitting the fastest lap, and unfortunately it doesn't get you any points. It still looks like that Otsuzito is your leader.
Absolutely. Hasn't been under any pressure from Leon, and ever since he came out of the pits, Leon's been looking behind rather than through the halo at Suede, who was very punchy trying to get that place when they came out of the pits. There were battles going on between Ivan Eskrig and Max von der Geest as well. That has just cooled, and Max is looking at the 2 Mercedes, still line astern behind them, Finlay, and the championship leader, Volokong, and then Snacks, Lars Kramer, Fraser and Jordan, who have joined this long DRS train. Fraser, like he said, with the fastest lap on the previous tour. The guys at the back, along with Suede, have the freshest tyres of anybody in this train of cars. That could prove crucial come the end, because you would imagine 20 plus laps on the hard tyres, we are going to be in and around the puncture territory by the time we get to lap 30, 31, 32 and 33. And then it is just luck, isn't it? Once you go over the limit where punctures are possible, it's not when you get to 80% they go, 90% they go, 100% they go. They can go at any time.
Yes, they can indeed. So the gap now between 4th and 5th, by the way, 8 seconds. I think that should be telling a warning sign that the tyres are starting to go. We'll see what they do in the coming laps. Elsewhere, the battle for the net lead is still going on. It's starting to get exciting, thankfully. Leon and Suede starting to close up on the Ferrari driver. Now, it will be 15 laps to go here at the Circuit Catalunya. Suede has the edge on 5 laps of tyre. Has been used so far. Otsuzito and Leon, of course, still on 6 lap, 1 lap older. The top 4 are still yet to pit though, so of course anything can happen. And see if Tony Richet can get up the order of the medium, softer tyre. Make a run for a good points finish, but about the win, it will probably be out of the question right now. But you never know. We've seen stranger things happen. Of course, we have Phil is in, Tony Richet staying out, Nico's in, and Dirk's in. So Tony Richet the leader now, but, and it's a big but, the he's not going to be that far ahead anymore, because I think Dirk stayed out. I thought he pit, but no, he hasn't. He has stayed out. I stand corrected. I thought he did pit, but yeah, it looks like it's 10 seconds, and Phil and Nico are going to drop to the back because the pack is so close together.
A bit of micromanagement Leon had to do in that final set. Had a bit of a wobble coming through turn number 10. Just had to keep his wits about him because Wade was very close through turns 13 and 14. Looking at the Sauber and the Aston Martin of Leon and Suede in particular, Suede definitely keeping those rear tyres in much better check than Leon is. Much less wheel spin coming out of the traction zones. And Leon just seems to be pushing those rear tyres a little bit more. Add on to the fact that they are a lap older, of course, as well. So just interesting difference there in the driving style and the form that they're currently carrying this race. Leon again a little bit wide through turn number 10. Doesn't seem to be a corner that he's enjoying too much around this configuration of circuit as Tony Richet bails on his set of hard compound tyres. Dirk will continue to soldier on as the Lone Ranger out in front, yet to make a stop in this race. Phil and Nico have come out of the pits. They're not too far off the back of this big DRS train, about 5 seconds or so, maybe a little bit more, that they need to try and make up. That could be an interesting charge in the back end of this Spanish Grand Prix.
Could be indeed. 13 laps to go. Fraser still closing up to try and get into the points. Well, he will be in the points because Tony Richet's coming out and he is fighting with Phil immediately, who's right behind Chiquita as well. So they're starting to make their gambit to go up the placings rapidly. Dirk's still out there on the hard tyres. The only driver yet to pit. He's going to have to put up a great in-lap despite the condition of these tyres. He's going to be doing 12 laps, if he pits now, off the medium tyre. Or he could be trying to go high. It's better to see him do that and the safety car come out. It would be quite something. But let's see what he does when he gets around. Dirk making his way around the final few corners off this track, sector 3. And he is coming in, so it will be the mediums, I assume, for Dirk, the last to pit. We've got a battle at the back. Phil is trying to get past Chiquita, and he collides with him a little bit. They do touch, but it looks like no damage suffered there. But Phil is definitely trying to get up the order. Now, where's Dirk going to come out? I should expect right at the back, because he's still not had his tyres changed. Now he's had them changed. Where is the battles happening? I can't see any.
It's the medium. It's the medium runners. These guys, while their tyres are still good, the mediums, they've got to make hay while the sun shines. Tony Richet rallying through turns 1 and 2, closes right up to the Aston Martin of Phil, who was a little bit pedestrian through the opening couple of corners, hustling that Ferrari car. Little look down the inside, Phil into turn number 4. Lazy Sen just hovering up the inside of Chiquita, maybe trying to spook the Red Bull into a mistake, and now down the inside of 5 again. Little bit too tense. It needs to be punchy, needs to be clinical. Does Phil is going to get this overtake done, and Tony Richet going to try and follow in the footsteps through turn 6 and 7. Be careful over the sausage curbs. They're so brutal if you get it slightly wrong. The Ferrari does muscle his way past. Nico trying to follow suit as well. Chiquita will be slightly on the back foot through turns 9 on the run into turn number 10. Nico doesn't send it down the inside into turn 10. Phil and Tony Richet, they've got to be punchy, they've got to be clinical. While these medium tyres are still good, still better than the hard compound tyres, they've got to pick off these slower runners very, very quickly, get onto the back of the lead DRS train, and then try and work their way through the traffic.
So yeah, keep an eye on Tony Richet. He's making his way up the order. So is Phil right now, and I should expect that they make some overtakes here. No overtakes, it seems like, at the front, as it has been for the whole race, but Nico has got past Chiquita. Chiquita starting to run out of steam. Nico now up to 16th. Phil is closing up to Guillaume, who started right at the back because of that penalty he suffered from last week. He isn't going to get from right now, but he could try the next corner like he did the last time. Coming into the corner where he did it. He's not going to do it this time. Oh, a bit of a slide though. Phil sees an opening, but he's not going to take that chance yet. 11 laps to go. He is still 14th place and still closing up on Guillaume. He's going to get the DRS again.
Tony Richet's frustrated. Tony Richet really frustrated. Goes for the outside. Yep. Doesn't want to watch and wait behind Phil. Sends it straight around the outside. Little bit too deep into turn 10. They don't want to spend too much time fighting each other. But it's Tony Richet saying, Phil, you're a little bit too tentative. You're a little bit too passive here. We've got to get a shift on, my friend. And he does pick the pocket of the Aston Martin. Can now set his sights on Guillaume and Lepox in front. This group, by the way, catching very, very quickly, including Lepox and Guillaume, catching the leaders at a rate of knots, about a second a lap, the gap.
Yes, it is. It is becoming quite the gap now. Guillaume holding him up. Actually, no, Lepox holding them up, but Tony Richet punishing Phil for being too conservative around the corners. Tony Richet is not hanging about. Going into turn number 4. He's going to try what Phil did into turn 5. He's kind of the driver that wants to go aggressive. There's the move, but he's decided to back it just at the last moment. and he will stay in 14th place for now. He is running out of time though. He's running on borrowed time because he's got 10 laps to go before the end of the race and still stuck down, and it looks like about 3 seconds away from the points. It's going to be a big ask to see if he can get to the points before the medium tyres run out of steam.
Got to be punchy. I'm surprised he didn't go for it there into turn number 10. Try and set it up. Got so much more pace. Had a little look down the inside into turn 12. Just so much frustration boiling over for the Scarlet Ferrari car. Steaming from ear to ear. Stuck behind the hard runners who are on much slower, much older tyres. Tony Richet aggressive through the final corner. Trying to carry as much speed as he dares. The problem is Giosh has got the DRS to the Haas of Lepox in front, and with no real advantage in a straight line, no battery to burn either, Tony Richet finding himself just stuck here in 14th. Needs to be creative, needs to be unorthodox with where he goes for his overtakes. He's tried it a couple of times into 4, 5, turns 10 as well. Is he close enough on the run into 4 this time? I don't think so to shoot it down the inside. Try and set it up for a run into turn 5, keeping it tight to the inside to try and wash out to the left-hand side. Little dart to the left, and there's a mistake for Giosh in front. That'll be even more frustrating as battling going on behind us. Nico versus Phil. Tony does benefit from that mistake, and Nico getting ahead of Phil. That could be crucial as well if these guys are going to be fighting for minor points paying positions.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like the DRS train is helping any action up the front. It's all chaos at the back.
Oh,
but look at
Dirk!
it! Yes, a move from Dirk. He's tired of hanging about. So he goes alongside Jaquita, but still alongside, but he is finally through and into 17th place. It's just not been a great day for Dirk. Bot strategy in qualifying. Doesn't seem to be able to get up the order today and is now stuck in 17th place. Of course, he won back in Monaco, and this is going to be a move from Nico. No way Giosh is going to fight this one as sitting duck, as he also lets Phil through. It seems like stuck down in 16th place, and it's all going to be about, is there going to be a safety car again? Keep talking about it, it just doesn't show up, the safety car. I think it's gone on strike.
But had a missing person warrant for Bernd Mailander. We don't know where he is. We haven't seen him for so long. Dirk, I don't think he's going to waste too much time behind the Sauer Gersh. In fact, he's alongside on the run into turn number 5. He's got so much more grip, traction and confidence, and pushes Giosh down into P17. We'll now scrap it out with Jaquita for the wooden spoon if you exclude the 2 disqualifications of Silo and the unlucky Mateus. Nico 1.2 seconds off the back of Tony Richet. Might be feeling the wrath of Phil. Tony Richet, the problem he's had is he's just caught everybody at exactly the wrong time. Wobble for Lepox coming out of turn 10. Smallest of gaps to fit a Ferrari Formula 1 car through 11 and now the outside of 12. Not going to be given the time of day by his Ferrari engine counterpart. And again, Tony Richet has to concede defeat and just sit and wait for another opportunity to try and present itself. Got so much more confidence through the final corner. Lepox definitely would have picked up a corner cutting warning after track extending through turn 14. Just trying to eke out as much top end speed as he possibly can. No battery left to burn. Can't make any more of an impression into turn 1. But Lepox is deep lock up on the inside front, still with the Ferrari all over the rear of the Haas car. Tony Richet looking for any possible space just to try and make an opportunity, fashion an opportunity to try and steal this position and work his way up to the points. Lepox is wide, bit of contact. Tony Richet won't care one jot about it because he finally makes the opportunity, makes the magic happen and gets 12th place.
That was a scary moment for Tony Richet. I thought Lepox was going to turn into him and give him a spin, but thankfully Tony Richet escapes unscathed and is now up into 12th place and right behind Jordan. This could be points position finally for Tony Richet after seemingly being too far away, but it looks like he is not backing down. It never does Tony Richet. He has impressed time and time again throughout the years on PSGL, but now he is going to try and make his run up the order. Right at the back because of the qualifying ban, and now he's going to try and make the most of it by going the alternate strategy. He has all the speed where everyone doesn't. Now on to the 6th to last lap. Is Tony Richet going to find a move against Jordan? Jordan's gone right to the other side and is going to defend his position. Tony Richet too far behind at the top. It is still, I think they are gearing up for the final lap at the top. I think the DRS is not powerful enough around this track.
We know that the slipstream is not particularly powerful on this game either, and the closer you get, the slipstream doesn't become stronger. It's the same value of slipstream if you're 7/10 back from the car in front or if you're 1/10 back from the car in front. Wobble for Jordan on the exit of 4. Are we going to see the dummy sold? Yes. Will John spit the dummy out? No, it's Tony Richet spitting the dummy in the face of John Giddy. Slammed right into the side of the Alpine car. Tried to sell the dummy, faking outside, going to the inside, but got it all horribly wrong. And a bit of a push to pass there to get past the Alpine of John, who I don't think will be particularly enamoured by that move from Tony Richet. Now going to be under pressure, under stern examination again from Nico, as Dirk is the latest to push Lepox down a further spot. Phil next on the hit list. Wide goes Jordan through turn 10. No grip left on his hard compound tyres. The front left looks an absolute state. I think he's going to be under pressure. No rear grip either coming through turn 12. Struggling to get the power down once and twice. I think this could be 2, maybe 3 places being lost on this DRS straight, unless he can get the rear wing flap open. Has he got it? Goes defensive, but doesn't have the DRS. Nico a little bit far back potentially.
So we're going to see any moves? It doesn't look like it. They're just playing a game of dragging me down the stretch, and looks like that Leon is starting to close up to Otsuzito. The gap is 3 tenths, both on the same age of tyres, the hard tyres. And we should also mention Tony Richet's actually in the points position here. Even if it's going to get a 10-second penalty, that's surely not going to get removed. We will be looking at Tony Richet going from pretty much last 2 points, but he could be getting more points. He can get past Fraser, who's up 4 tenths ahead. Also 4 tenths behind top 2 Suede, but there doesn't seem to be any battling going on. Are they saving this to the end as we get a wobble from Suede?
I think the problem is you can't count with the fact that the DRS and the slipstream isn't that strong and everybody is conserving battery at this stage. You can't count and you can't rely, as you would have done in F124, that you can wait until the last lap and just blast past on the final DRS zone. So you have to be a little bit more tactful. Tony Richet in P11, net P10, courtesy of that penalty for Ivan Eskrig. I think he's used the best of his medium compound tyres. That's why he might just stall out here and end up finishing in P11. It's because those medium tyres, we know they're not great. Some drivers only got 13 laps out of them. Some only got 11 laps out of them in the opening stint. Still pressing on as we start lap 30, close to the back of the second McLaren of Fraser. But you can see the wall of understeer he gets now in the dirty air. Nowhere near as much grip as he had in the early stages of this stint. I think this will just cool the charge and the assault through the field for Tony Richet. Not great for his championship.
Not great at all. He's still stuck behind Fraser, but the battle is starting to close up at the top. I don't think we're going to get a safety car, because usually there's like a cap on when the safety car can come out. It's usually the 4th to last lap, which is this one. This is obviously they take about a couple of laps to get ready, and then the final 2 lap shootout. Oh, a big dive from Dirk, and he spun around. I think he got too greedy there, trying to pass Nico, and he's paid the price, and luckily he's only lost that position. So it looks like he is going to be having to go again, lock and reload. But now Otsuzito with draining battery, and we're going to have a change for the lead for once. Leon's going to go to the inside. Oh, they collide and they can't get through. Otsuzito still in the lead. Leon could not become the new leader of the race, and will now have to stay and think about how to get past once they comes around again. Svade now watching on ominously and anxiously see if he can take advantage of the situation. Maybe a Frugos Hamilton moment, perhaps, if Otsuzito and Leon slip up. Even Eskrig there pretty much out of the question with that penalty. Vola Condon's closing up to his teammate. Tony Richet needs to start picking up the pace. His tyres are starting to run out of steam.
100%. Just stalled in P11. That was really good driving from Otsuzito, you have to say. Hung it beautifully around the outside of turn 1. And that is job 1 done. The first sparring match in the final 3 rounds of this Spanish Grand Prix goes to the red corner of Otsuzito in the Scarlet Ferrari. Still got a job to do, though, on these last 2 tours. The run down into turn 1, where he's going to be at his most vulnerable. 0.6 of a second the margin as we cut the beam for the penultimate time. Leon gaining all the time. Not as close as he was on the previous lap. Dipping under 0.4 of a second, but this time can't shoot one down the inside. And at least on the penultimate lap, the advantage still in the ascendancy is Team Scarlet. Team Scuderia. Ottozito still holding on to this.
Yes, he is. So, 2 laps to go. And once again, another race without a safety car. Ottozito trying everything he can.
Oh,
to hang on
Volakongan,
to
sorry,
this
down the inside of his
win.
teammate. Bit of bumper cars going on. Volakongan so committed down the inside of 5. Think he realised it was a bit of a push to pass, letting Finlay go once again. Championship leader desperate to try and make up for lost time, just a little bit too over ambitious, down into the braking zone of 5.
Yeah, so the Silver Arrows roar goes on. But now Leon pretty much has one final chance to try and take the win. He hasn't even led at all this race. He started back in 3rd place. And now he's going to try and challenge for the win. Here we come round the final corner. Oh, a slide from Leon. That might be costly. And Ottozito doesn't have to do much looking back. But it's now going to be a comeback from Leon. I don't think he is. I think he just got too greedy. And he's going to pay the price. It looks like Ottozito may hang on, but it's still not over. There's still one big streak to go.
Ottozito has things covered for the time being, at least. It was that mistake from Leon. I think 3 or 4 cars almost had a swap on either through the penultimate corner on the exit of the final corner as well. Finlay with no DRS, but hasn't lost out to his teammate just yet. You wonder if Volakongan will just follow Finlay home after the bumping and grinding that we saw on the previous lap. Running out of opportunities, Leon is now sat down at the bar of the last chance saloon here at the Spanish Grand Prix. He's got one more realistic opportunity this run into turn number 10. Needs to be quick through the 6-7 chicane. 4.5 tenths the gap between first and second. The pole sitter's Wade, barring any major maladies, is going to come home in P3. Leon is gaining, but still not close enough to challenge into the braking zone. And here the Spanish Grand Prix, big wobble there for Leon. I think that does definitely put pay to his charge. He is not going to be King Leon here in Catalonia because Ottozito has absorbed the pressure absolutely beautifully. Didn't start on pole, but it was the front row. Took the lead on the opening lap. He's had to battle hard, but it is Ottozito for Ferrari that wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Leon and Wade round out the podiums. Good return to form for Mats von der Geest in 4th, ahead of the Mercs. Finlay does lead home his team. Big crash over the line. Phil was sideways. I think we're about 5 abreast as we cut the beam.
Yeah, they were, but I'm not sure. Well, I don't think it was really for any points, really. But Tony Richet has got 10th because of even Escri's penalty. But it seemed like there was not much action, and it was just pretty much a case of could they make the move? Could they make the move despite the DRS train? But it didn't seem like there were being many moves made. But Ottozito has taken advantage of the situation, and he is your winner there in this Premier Division of PSGL and on the PlayStation, and he will take the 16 points very nicely indeed. Swede unable to get past after the initial pit stops, and he will only get 3rd. Leon will have to settle for 2nd best, and yeah, it wasn't the most exciting of races, but in the last lap there, yeah, it seems like there was a big battle for what looked like the final position, because I think Tony Richet had a problem with his tires. He must have run out of steam, but it looks like he stayed on in 10th position. Yes, I do believe that battle, that crazy battle at the end, right behind him, was for no points. So unless there's a penalty in the top 10, but it is unfortunately no points for them. But it is Ottozito that takes the victory, as we've mentioned, and see what that does to the standings, if I can guess.
Another different winner though. 4 in the last 4 races. Different winners, obviously Alex Lofer before he left. We had Dirk winning in Monaco. We had Sider winning last week, and now we've got Ottozito. So many different contenders emerging in this fascinating championship battle. The reigning not the reigning champion, last season's runner-up and the championship leader, Volakongan, was P6. Another bad one for Ivan Eskrig, was 2nd in the season opener at Australia. Was last with that 10-second penalty, classified in P18. After 16th 7 days ago, his championship charge just falling by the wayside as we pass the halfway point of season 41. Does set us up beautifully, doesn't it? Mats von der Geest back in good form. Tony O'Shea picking up 1 point. Dirk was outside of the points playing position for the second week running. We don't know who the main protagonists are anymore.
Oh, we don't. Otsazito gets 16 points. That takes him up to 27. Svajed, who only had 2 points, will now jump up to 15. 13. 10 for the race and 1 for the pole position. So he's now on. He was on 2. So he's on to 13 points. Leon gets his first points. He's up to 12. So 1 point behind Svajed, who was third today. But yeah, that was quite the race. Tony O'Shea is going to go on the same points as Dirk, who didn't score. And he's going to go on 27, still behind because of the countback situation. Dirk has a win. I completely forgot where Van de Geest finished. There's too focused on the battles, but it's still... Oh, he was 4th, right. So he's going to be just behind Volakongan still. Volakongan's still leading the way if you discount Alex Lofer. Screed is going to go away with Guseg. I think Nico has not scored either. Silo, obviously. Well, let's not go there. Phil.
Well put.
Yep. But yes, it is starting to change the current climate of the championship. But of course, we've got 5 rounds to go. Next up will be Great Britain, which is of course where it started back 75 years ago this year.
100%. The British Grand Prix Silverstone. And it will, of course, on the PlayStation side, be the last race of 2025. If we look at the calendar, forget that it says Canada for this week. It is the the Spanish Grand Prix that we've just seen. Silverstone next week, and then we break off for Christmas and New Year. The PlayStation tier will be back on January the 5th for a 4-race rampage to round out season 41, heading from North America, Mexico City Grand Prix, all the way to the Middle East for Saudi Arabia, then back to South America for Interlagos in Brazil, and then we go back to the Middle East, to Abu Dhabi, to round out season 41 at the Yas Marina Circuit, as we saw the real-life 2025 season come to an end in Abu Dhabi yesterday. 5 really good circuits. I say 4 because Abu Dhabi is a little bit terrible in real life, isn't it? But we've got Silverstone next week. That's always a cracker. Some really tight battles, some really close quarters racing as well. Mexico, a strategy game. Jeddah is attrition as it always is, and Interlagos, almost a spiritual home of the back end of the championship and season finales. Great circuits to round off the calendar, haven't we got, Logan?
Yes, we do, and of course, I don't know what that was. I do apologise. Yes, 5 rounds to go. 1 more race before Christmas, and then after that, of course, after New Year's, 4 races, and 4 of them usually some of the best ones. Mexico, Jeddah, of course, a very fast and furious circuit. Interlagos, a classic, and of course the modern Abu Dhabi circuit, which of course has now been added to Gran Turismo 7 in the other division we have.
Has indeed, has indeed. That is just about it from us this week. Pleasure as always to bring this series to you lovely people that tune in, week out. Before you go, if you do want to maximise your performance, just extract those extra tenths per second on F1 25, head over to Sim Racing Setups, linked in the description, and unlock those pro F1 25 car setups developed and created by the drivers that compete week in, week out here at PSGL Esports, and stable setups available for every circuit, quality and race setups, dry and wet weather, optimal race strategies, and you get free meta updates thrown in there as well. All available, 27 circuits, £49.99. You don't have to be that good at maths to realise that £49.99 divided by 27, that's pretty darn good value. SimRacingSetup.com, linked in the description of this stream, and make sure you use the code PSGL at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase, everybody. So that is just about it from myself and Logan for another week of Monday Evening Madness. Before we go, Logan, where can people find you on an internet if they want to see what you're up to?
Well, Taku Logan on YouTube. I just do random videos. I'm very lazy most of the time. Like when I'm not doing notes tonight, admittedly. Sorry, Jess, again.
Make sure you check him out, though, and check out what Logan's got. We've got a brilliant video. Was it F1 23 or 24 when we had an absolutely crazy enter to the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix where we had a car park in the final corner, about 10 cars involved?
Yeah, I think there was that. I'm not sure if it's still up there. It said craziest PSGL finish ever or something. I might be wrong, but you know.
you want
all
content
very
like that,
fun.
check him out. It's
Yeah.
good content to watch, exciting as well. And if you want to see what I'm doing, worker.darts, so worker.coms on TikTok and Instagram. But thank you very much. PC will be back, of course, on Thursday for you to sink your teeth into. But until next week, where we head to the British Grand Prix, the home of myself and Logan, of course, in F1. It is always a pleasure to bring this series to you. And until next time, have a wonderful rest of your week. Turn to Jonathan Ross. Wonderful rest of your week. We will see you very, very soon. Goodbye.